Our favorite campground in Myrtle Beach is Huntington Beach State Park, as long as you define the word "at" as meaning 30 minutes away from Myrtle Beach. If you love to camp and you love the beach, then there's a chance that you've either been here before or you may be thinking you want to go. While we can't tell you if this is the perfect campground for you and your style of camping, we can share with you what we've learned from camping here many times over the last 25 years in many different types of RVs. What we'll cover in this review: the cost and how it compares to other campgrounds in the area, a little about the booking experience and the check-in experience. We'll take a look at the sites and the campground, what there is to do around here, and the amenities that are included with your rate, and a few other things as a camper that you may like to know to help you decide if this is going to be your campground when you visit Myrtle Beach. So let's talk about the cost of staying here and how that compares to other campgrounds in the area. Well, we think it's a high state park rate compared to even 5 to 10 years ago. Expect to pay $35 for a tent site, $60 for a water and electric RV site, and $75 to $80 for a full hookup site, especially in the South Campground. For reference, the cheapest site at the KOA in the middle of Myrtle Beach is $65 per night, and that's with a lot more amenities and in the middle of town, but the most expensive one goes for $180. Average cost per night in the area range from $70 to $180. There are 9 campgrounds within the city limits, and there are more than 15 campgrounds within 30 minutes of Myrtle Beach. But this one is a little more than 30 minutes outside of town, but we'll tell you why we love to stay here anyway, starting with the booking experience. You can book online at reserve.southcarolinaparks.com, and that's a pleasant experience. But there is a 2-night minimum for this park most of the year, so that makes it hard to fit dates together. If you need a single date to fill in a gap, you're going to need to call. And unlike its sister park, Myrtle Beach State Park, this park does not usually have availability. It stays booked up, so if you're going to stay here, you're going to need to hunt for cancellations or you're going to need to book really early. But if you're willing to move sites and you're flexible with your dates, what we've found is we're usually able to find at least a few days to stay here when we want to do that. Now let's talk about the check-in experience. Once you've booked your site, you'll arrive at a gatehouse. They'll send you through to the store where you'll be able to check in at that building. And then you'll proceed to your site without an escort. So let's take a look at the sites and what you get. Well, you're going to see that all the roads in this campground, both sides of the campground, are paved. The roads are wide with gentle turns, so it's big rig friendly. There are 2 areas to this campground. The oldest and more rustic is the North Campground, and the newer, more RV resort-like is the South Campground. Most are relatively level, most are deep enough for most rigs, and most have at least water and electric, with a few exceptions of the rustic tent sites. The amount of privacy varies, but generally most of the sites in the north area have plenty of separation and vegetation and privacy. The south area does not offer as much privacy, but makes up for that by having perfectly level concrete pads and a very short walk to the ocean. You came here probably for this beautiful beach, and there are many ways to get there. There are many paths to the beach. Some wind through wooded trails, while some are typical sandy and boardwalk walks with showers. Dogs are welcome on the beach early and late during the prime season. The most unique feature of this park, though, would be the Atalaya Castle. It's a 1930s Moorish-style castle that was the home of the Huntingtons, who once made this their summer home before it became a state park. There's a small, currently $2 fee to get into the castle and tour it, but we recommend you do it at least once during your stay. This is quite literally a hiker's paradise. There are a lot of hiking trails here. There's some on and to the beach. There are hikes to overlooks and boardwalks. And you can hike up what used to be the Huntington's awesome driveway, where you'll see lots of wildlife, including a few gators, and across the causeway, where you're going to see turtles, nesting and migrating birds, including white pelicans, and lots and lots and lots of alligators. And it's also known as one of the best birding sites on the East Coast. This park has plenty of bike trails as well within the park, and you can turn left when you leave the park and go to Brook Green Gardens, or you can turn right on the trail and go all the way to Merle's Inlet. And if you're so inclined, within 30 minutes you can be at everything that is known as Myrtle Beach. It's a 30 to 40 minute drive to Broadway at the beach and most other major Myrtle Beach attractions. All the sites in the south area are less than a quarter of a mile from soft sand. And speaking of that sand, it is a much less crowded and secluded beach than you're going to find anywhere else in this area. And while you won't find a pool or a lazy river here, if being out in the middle of nature is your thing, then we think you're going to find lots of fun things to do here at Huntington Beach State Park. As a camper, there are a few other things you might want to know about this park before you book your reservation. The gate is locked at night, but you'll have a combination. There's a 3-lane dump and freshwater station. This campground has one centrally located trash and recycle area. It's not as convenient as trash bins at every loop, but it is conveniently located, and it has a lot of ranger-led activities, both at Atalaya and the Nature Center. So is it a good choice for you? Well, let's just put it this way. When we're planning a trip to visit family near Myrtle Beach, we always try to get dates here at Huntington Beach State Park. But many times they'll be full, so we'll end up staying at Myrtle Beach State Park instead. But if it's available, we book here. It is, well, expensive for a South Carolina state park, but with all it has to offer, it's a fair price, especially considered that a 1-bedroom condo nearby is going to cost you $500 per night. And you know what? There's Wi-Fi at the store and the visitor center and the campground. And if it's not really busy, well, the Wi-Fi is usable, but it's hardly ever not busy. So there's 3 bars of Verizon and T-Mobile at all the sites. And with the hiking and the biking, all the wildlife, the castle tour, and the beautiful not crowded beach, it's no wonder this place stays booked solid. And if you can get a spot here, we feel you won't regret spending the dollars to camp here. And if you've been here before, or if you're lucky enough to grab a few nights here, we hope you'll leave us a comment down below and let us know how accurate we've been in reviewing this beautiful former home of the Huntingtons. And until we see you again, happy tales.